Welcome to the most authoritative hour on TV. It's The Pulse. We're live from our studios in Kokomlimle on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. Remember, we are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. This afternoon, there's a race against time to prevent further deaths as the Ghana Health Service rolls out revised measures to control the spread of COVID-19. This afternoon, we are live at the Information Ministry, where the Director General of Ghana Health Service will be giving us updates of that crunch meeting. Also this afternoon, the residents of Ejura are hopeful perpetrators in the Ejura disturbances will be brought to book as the ministerial committee set up to probe the incident prepared to submit its reports to government. We'll hear from the chief of Zango for Ejura, whose grandson also died in that disturbance. Plus, the situation in Western Germany and other parts of Europe still very difficult after devastating floods in the past few days. Today, we focus our attention on the recent droughts in parts of Africa, coupled with torrential rains in parts of Europe, which is evidence of what scientists describe as climate change, and have a conversation about the impact on countries. We have expert analysis for you here on The Pulse. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities, Dignilu Affordable Safe Sanitation. My name is Ejura. Remember, we're also streaming live on YouTube and all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is the Nana Aisha. It's always a pleasure to host you. Let's talk about this dangerous pandemic, COVID-19. And this afternoon, there's a race against time to prevent further deaths as the Ghana Health Service rolls out revised measures to control the worrying surge in COVID-19 cases, which they say is largely driven by the Delta variant. Ghana Health Service data shows as many as 21. There's as many as 21 persons are dying in the first 17 days of July, but the lack of adherence to the protocols, limited access to COVID-19 testing and contact tracing, among others, remain a challenge.
2021 recorded a total of 99,734 COVID-19 positive cases, with 817 deaths. The country's active case count of 3,466 leave health authorities worried. Director General of Ghana Health Service has been explaining why the country is experiencing an upsurge in cases since December.
The emergence of new variants with high infectivity further complicates the currently observed and currently observed non-adherence to COVID-19 safety protocols. Other threats include the outbreak of cases in the neighboring countries, surges in Ashanti and Greater Accra, which is the main hotspot in Ghana, low vaccination coverage so far, and the entry of the Delta variant into the Ghana, and lastly, but not the least, outbreaks in some of our schools. The threat of a third wave in Ghana is very real.
Dr. Kumampuaji says a new proposal on funerals is being developed to curb the spread of coronavirus through social events. He spoke to the media at the end of a two-day high-level strategic meeting on COVID-19 in Kumasi.
As part of the protocols that have been designed, includes how funerals, etc., should be organized. And just like the protocol, I think it's not being adhered to not just by one group of people, but clearly many people are doing that. We are in discussions coming up with a proposal that limits the spread, that makes it safer, and whilst people still go ahead and have a funeral, we think that is such a deep cultural thing that it is not something you can just wish away. And so we have a draft protocol that we are sharing to ensure that, how do we ensure that we still have our funerals in safety?
According to Dr. Kumamboaje, Ghana's health system has some inherent strength, with the training of critical staff and increase of treatment centers from 2 to 70 since 2020. He, however, says a third wave of COVID-19 is imminent if the attitude of the citizenry remains unchanged.
The rise in cases is of concern to the Ghana Health Service, and this necessitated the strategic meeting of senior managers and our partners to address the increase in these cases. Our current system has some inherent strengths. Capacity for case management has been strengthened with an increase in the number of treatment centers from 2 to about 70 currently, with a treatment center in each region. Training of critical care staff and the provision of equipment has also been implemented. The establishment of the Ghana Infectious Disease Center is one. The establishment of electronic data collection system for surveillance data collection. A robust laboratory capacity from 2 in the early 2020 to 400 total currently. We also have a capacity for genomic sequencing as a country. However, all these capacity can be overwhelmed if we do not avert a third wave, especially driven by a Delta variant, which is highly transmissible.
Meanwhile, Ghana Health Service has been outlining some measures to tackle COVID-19 upsurge in the country.
We want to mobilize all our opinion leaders, our religious leaders, traditional leaders, key influencers, etc., in putting in place contextual risk communication messages for locations such as schools and workplaces. We will continue to scale up our testing capacity for COVID-19. We will scale up the use of antigen testing. Antigen testing will be used as part of our rapid response in locations where there are outbreaks such as schools, workplaces, and points of entry. That's our borders, our ports, etc. We will strengthen our contact tracing and quarantine isolation. On the areas of vaccine, importance of vaccine in limiting the transmission cannot be emphasized. Ghana is increasing its capacity to handle different brands of vaccine, including those that require ultra-cold storage facilities. Ghana is trying to source more vaccines to cover as many people as possible, and we'll be prioritizing hotspot areas, districts, highly populated areas, and at-risk groups, that is persons over 60 and above. Despite all these efforts, vaccine hesitancy needs to be tackled so as to ensure the maximum vaccine uptake when the vaccines are available.
From Kumasi, for JoyNews, Ejura reporting.
Well, we've been speaking to members of the public on why they're letting their guard down. Here are their reasons.
I don't think it's rare because recently when I watched European Champions Cup, the final match, the whole Britain, the Wembley, the biggest stadium in the world, even one single person are not wearing masks. They are just hugging themselves, kissing themselves. Look at the number of people in the sports stadium at the final match between England and Italy. You see the number of people in the sports stadium, Wembley. No single person wearing face masks. So I don't think it's rare.
The sensitization has gone down. That is one. And then the figures being churned out by the government has also come down. That is why the awareness is down. Hence, some of us not wearing it. Well, I would like to wear it. I was wearing one. I'm just from the court. I came to Circle to repair my phone and I had to take it off.
I've been hearing about the new variant that is in town, Delta something, and then we need to observe the protocol. And I have some friends outside who even had the injection, but I'm told some of them have died. So that kind of makes me want to be precautious and don't want to take things for granted.
Before we was thinking that no, the disease is not there. But now, the cases are still going higher. The disease is, so now, media, as for media, I'm protecting myself. I have to protect myself because I don't have money now. If anything happens, I don't have money where I can go to hospital. So media, I'm just wearing this to protect myself.
Well, let's get some updates from the Ghana Health Service portal where we can get information on what is happening about our COVID situation today. It's coming on your screens right now. And new cases stand at 304. Active cases now 3,466. Confirmed cases now stand at 99,734. You have recoveries at 95,451. Deaths at 817. And if you look at the gender distribution, you have 42% of the infections being female and 57% of them being male. Now, there's also a regional breakdown in that map there, and you see Greater Accra and the Ashanti region leading. Greater Accra is leading and is followed by the Ashanti region, and you can see that there are other regions that are following there. Western region is following the Ashanti region with 5,991, Eastern region with 4,572, Central with 3,565, Volta with 2,704. Meanwhile, the Director of Procurement at the Ministry of Health has put up a spirited defense justifying sole sourcing before ratification as grounded in law, even though this did not go well or without a rebuttal. Speaking before the Parliamentary Committee probing the procurement contract of the Sputnik V vaccines, which has since been terminated, Director of Procurement said the propriety of the action is proper under certain constraints.
Exhibit 6, paragraph 1, 2, 3. The board decided that an investigation should be conducted in accordance with Section 89 of Act 663 as amended to ascertain the circumstances that gave cause for Ministry of Health to undertake the said assignment with says a team of investigators will therefore visit your organization to undertake this. So in the PPA response to your letter, they admitted that there was a violation. Do you agree to that?
I don't, Honorable Chair.
For which there will be investigators to investigate.
Can I, Chair? Can I?
So, Mr. Chairman.
You see, Honorable colleague, I decided to lay back because at a point, maybe a certain impression was being created that you were being. We also have before us a letter from the minister to PPA for ratification. As a matter of procedure, PPA would have to investigate the grounds for you proceeding prior to the authorization. Yeah, you didn't come to them. The law allows for you to come for ratification. Wait. He has quoted, well, the matters of law matters of law would be in our reports. He has argued emergency laws and the situation we found ourselves. So I am saying that put that question to you. If you punch holes and deal with that, and you are allowed. But when you are doing back and forth, he said, do you agree? He says, I disagree. Then maybe so get him to give you the facts.
So, Mr. Minister, you know the public procurement does not have the authority to ratify single source procurement. There could be ratification of other whatever, but single source procurement, there's no provision in the Act.
Where is the Director of Procurement? Are you here? You took an oath. Are you able to take us through? Is there any provision in the PPA Act as amended which allows for ratification?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I think it's only under single source that even you have to apply for ratification. Because if you open tender and you have other submissions and you award your contract, that is the procedure. But because under the circumstances, you could not apply to PPA to give you the approval to do single source, and you went on to do single source, then now you have to apply to them that based on ABCD, I went ahead to engage this firm to undertake this assignment for me. So I am applying for you to ratify that process for me. Their investigation, gives you the justification that you should use single source or you should do that, then they grant you the approval. If their investigations comes out that it is not right, then they take decision otherwise. So, Mr. Honorable Chair, it is right to use single source procedure and ratify. Okay. Thank you.
Now, your lawyer is, the director of legal is by you, but since you are the chief advisor on procurement, with all these explanations, it is your case that they are in the law. Answer. Is your case that is in the law?
Yes, Honorable.
The explanations you've given.
Yes,
it is your case that they are in the law.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Let's now speak with Nana Kofi Kwache. He's a research fellow in the Department of Health Policy and Management at the New York University School of Global Public Health, where he's also a doctoral candidate. He's a health economist and policy analyst specializing in healthcare systems and health services. Doc, I'm grateful for your time this afternoon. First of all, what do you make of the current situation with the surge and the attendant deaths?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. Just quick clarification, it's not Doc yet. I'm defending later this year. I think what we're seeing in terms of the numbers right now kind of reflect what that have imported the Delta variant, where you have a sudden and very sharp spike in cases, which is often followed up by, pretty much immediately, well, not immediately, about 2 or 3 weeks later, an increase in deaths, and generally widespread community transmission of that variant. I think from that, it's important that we have clarity on what that means for our healthcare system. And I think that when we think about the protocols that we are rolling out, the measure of the effectiveness or the suitability to the moment should really be the question of the healthcare system. Are we doing enough to make sure that we don't have so many infections, that we have a high number of people needing severe critical care who then cannot get it because the health system might be overwhelmed? And when you have the Ghana Medical Association and other healthcare providers already telling us that we have an issue when it comes to actual availability, well, not actual capacity for care, or we are nearing the capacity for care, which, to be clear, is not just about beds. It's about having enough staff, about having enough oxygen, about having enough of the life supports and life-sustaining medications. They're telling us that they are almost at capacity. So when it comes to what we have to do now, the question is, how quickly can we tighten those things up so that we are actually meeting the necessity of the moment, which is breaking the chains of transmission very aggressively and very quickly?
There are a number of things officials would have to do to ensure we are safe and controlling the spread. But one of this is the enforcement of the rules and the many others that would help us help deal with the situation. Are these being done?
Well, I think there are obviously some high-level protocols in place that have generally been disregarded. And I call those the higher-level ones because those have to do with the highest risk situations. So, for example, you can take settings like clubs, which are indoor venues where people are drinking, and because they're drinking, they don't wear masks, and because they're indoor, they're not ventilated. Those are very high-risk settings. And we know for a fact that since even the time that Ghana Health Service announced that the Delta variant was spreading the community, there has been no real enforcement of those closures at all. I live close to Sion Laboni, weekends have been loud and active. So we know that those settings, which the Ghana Health Service itself said were main drivers of the December to February surge, are still open. Those are still happening. It's important to bear in mind also that even the question of the Delta variant, we're talking about a situation where, speaking to why it's important to move quickly about this, situation where, despite the fact that we got the announcement on July 1st that we had community spread, the actual samples involved were taken as far back as May. So we know that we've had several weeks where our guard has been down, where enforcement of protocols on funerals, social gatherings, all of that hasn't been done. I'm not sure we are seeing that yet. I don't think if you go outside right now, what you are seeing in the public in terms of mask wearing on trottoirs or even just Veronica buckets in front of stores, I don't think that suggests that the shift is changing direction just yet. So I really do think we have to double down on these enforcement efforts. And some of that has to do with better risk communication. You cannot get people to take something seriously if you are downplaying its seriousness. That's obvious common sense. So it's important that we communicate candidly about the situation at hand, make people understand that this is not a good time to be taking risks, because if you don't luck out and you get infected and you have a bad case, if that's happening 2 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, if the trend continues, it may be difficult to find a bed for the life-sustaining or life-saving care you need. So it's important that that is communicated clearly, that the Delta variant spreading in the communities widely is made clear and not presented as something that's happening in isolated pockets. And it's important also that in risk communication, that action follows words, so that the people who are enforcing the laws or asking us to abide by them, asking us to make sacrifices, are living up to the example, are living up to the moment. Because without that, you end up having a scenario where there are a lot of people who say, well, it can't be that serious if. It can't be as bad as this situation because they're saying this. And that comes down, again, not just even what we do, but how we talk about COVID. And that involves, not saying things like funerals are not places where COVID spreads and schools are the safest places, because those are things that we don't know. Those are things that the data also does not support. So it's important for us to have, a more candid conversation to get people to understand that the risk is real and that compliance is really important at the individual level and at the national level.
Doc, we heard in that interview with the public, many simply don't care. What can we do to ensure they take the issue seriously?
Yeah, I think it comes back down to, my previous answer, that we have to be able to communicate to people. There's a question of community engagement. So it's not just saying you've done some adverts, so you finish your communication about COVID-19. You have to engage community leaders. You have to engage people where they are at the level that they are. You have to have diverse, multilingual communications that are more dynamic. And you have to do a lot of that in the digital space, where a lot of people are getting their misinformation from or their doubts from. Those things have to be done quickly, but it also requires, like I said, candor about the reality of the situation. If people do not perceive that the Delta variant presents a new risk, or that it's not widely spreading, or that there's no need for any necessary public awareness or public anxiety about it, then they will not respond in the way that we are looking for. So it's important, again, just going back to the simple things in public health risk communication. Speak the truth, speak it early, and speak it often. And that's what we really need to get back to doing to make sure everybody's on board.
Nana Kofi Kwachi, I'm grateful for your time this afternoon. He's a research fellow with the Department of Health Policy and Management at the New York University School of Global Health. And we are still live on the Pulse. Let's do more, because youth leaders in the Aboabo community are urging for calm among constituents to allow investigations into Tuesday's shooting incident. 16-year-old Gafaro Kasim was killed and one other injured when they were hit by a stray bullet during the Eid celebrations. Youth leader Ali Suraj is admonishing residents to desist from activities that continue to tarnish the image of the Zongo communities. Love FM's Prince Apia has some updates from the community.
On Almighty Allah, everything that would happen to human being, it is coming from the Creator, that is Almighty Allah. But we should start protecting ourselves. I am not happy, Elijah Hamza. I'm not happy, my brother. because it happened in the Zongo community on the Eid day. But what can I do? The only thing I can do is to use this opportunity, to use your platform, to advise the youth, to remain calm. I beg them. They should not be thinking about trying to create another problem, saying that we have to react on what happened, or we have to act on what happened. Because being one of the youth leaders, it's very painful for you to hear the news says that one of your brothers has been killed just like that, with no reason. So I want to use this platform to beg the youth. They should remain calm. We should also be very careful of the way we do things. We always tell them that we beg them in the name of Almighty Allah. We want peace in the Zongo community. Peace in the Zongo community is what we want. We are not there for advertising. We are not there to show that we are the leaders. We are there to plead with people, to beg them, to beg the Zongo community so that we will rebuild our name, rechange the mentality of the Zongo community. So I want to also use this opportunity for those who will be outside the Zongo community. Maybe they will translate this incident different way. It's not like that. It's not about the fighting. It's nothing. They were just happy, and one of them just, God says that everybody would die. So but myself and you don't know where you will die. Maybe this is where Almighty Allah creates that he will die. So I beg, if you hear this news, I beg you, pray for the Zongo community, pray for the family. If you can't pray for the family, don't say anything about it.
Sarkin Zongo for Ejura, Alhaji Muhammad Suraj Al-Hassan is hopeful perpetrators in the Ejura disturbances will be brought to book as a ministerial committee set up to probe the disturbances that led to the killing of 2 persons and injury of 6 others prepare to submit its report to government. Whilst expressing trust in the work of the committee, he is hopeful the committee's report will deal with all issues in the events leading to the disturbances. Alhaj Suraj has been speaking at a community engagement organized by Ejurahini Berima Osei II. It is the first of its kind to discuss issues relating to the riots in June.
We believe that once they come out with the truth and, as it were, the appropriate recommendations, there will be understanding and there will be peace. Well, once they appeared before the committee, it means whatever doubts that they had has been cleared. Whatever it is, in a situation, when you start, you have some sort of misconceptions, either wrong interpretations, either whatever. But eventually, or even had an interaction with them, a lot of the bereaved families and families of those who are injured, and the whole issue was explained to them. Now it's okay. I think it was more of misunderstanding than anything else. He's telling everybody, first, to thank the government, the committee, and all who supported one way or the other to restore peace, law and order. And then appeal to the people, the citizen, that the committee has finished. They're submitting their report to government. Our hope and prayer is that whatever it is that we are looking out for, that will bring peace, that will bring justice to all, will be brought. Let me put it that way. And once that is done, we will all have peace.
Let's cross over and speak with our man, Parliamentary. He's been on this beat for us all this while. The chief of Zongo, the Sarkin Zongo himself, had his grandson killed during this disturbance, correct? Kindly unmute for me.
Mohammed Suraj Al-Hassan did touch on the fact that the people, especially the affected families, have believed in the committee set up to probe the exact killing, and that once the committee has been receiving, awaiting some few days to submit its report to the government, then he's hopeful that something good will come from the committee, and as the people have some belief in the committee, yes, so that once they are away, there won't be any disturbance, but sort of exercise some restraint as they await government's recommendation on the
Ejura clashes, Aisha.
What would he describe as justice, or what exactly would the family take as justice for the family of their dead as they call for the perpetrators to be brought to book?
Yes, I spoke to the representative or spokesperson of the Kakao family, and the indication that I picked from him is that the family expects nothing less, and when they talk of justice, it's either monetary compensation for the bereaved families and the affected families or the victims, and then they also expect that the security operatives found to have taken part in the shooting incident will also be punished. So for them, this is what will bring some sort of justice to the affected people of Ejura as far as the 29th June's disturbances are concerned. Anything less of this will not appease them. So they expect that government will come out with recommendations that will go a long way to punish the security operatives found to have, fired into the crowd in Ejura on 29th June, and secondly, compensate the family financially, especially the deceased families, and then the victims who were also affected in the shooting incident.
Ohimeng, what's the mood in the area today as you visited?
I must say there's calm in Ejura. It's something that the Ejura Hine Bema Osei the second alluded to. He even spoke about it at the community engagement, which brought all the people of Ejura, the bereaved families and the victims together to discuss the events in the 29th June in Ejura. And he said that he's very happy that calm has returned to Ejura and people are going about their duties peacefully. Going through the streets of Ejura, one thing I realized is that, yes, everybody is going about his normal duty, and everybody is happy, and the community is calm. But there's something that the people, some of the people that I spoke raised. For instance, the Nifahine Nana Kojo and Sebie II did say that, yes, you cannot have, total peace in Ejura. Yes, on the streets of Ejura, it is calm, there is peace in the streets. But what about the homes, individual homes where he has not been to? And then the Kaka family representative also touched on this one, saying that, yes, for him, the streets are calm, there's happy, there's some sort of peace on the streets of Ejura. But the same cannot be said of individual homes. Because if Kaka left home and was returning home, he was attacked, ambushed and attacked by unknown assailants, then the same thing can happen to anybody in Ejura, be it a traditional leader or ordinary citizen on the streets of Ejura. So for them, yes, there's peace on the streets. We've seen some police officers and the military on the streets of Ejura giving some protection to the people. But the same, according to the residents, cannot be said of the peace in their homes as we speak now.
So, of course, what next is a question we need to ask. What next after this engagement in Ejura?
Yes, to the traditional authorities, this engagement is just the stepping stone to ensure and promote peace in the community. They also want the other Zongo chiefs to continue the engagement with the residents, especially the Zongo youth, so that they exercise some restraint. And the advice, I'm told, this is not the only avenue where the chiefs and the leadership of the Zongos have been, reaching out to the Zongo youth. Even yesterday at the Edo Ada prayers, similar messages were preached, asking the youth to eschew violence and also live in peace and harmony
And then in the event like this, like what they witnessed on 26 June, leading to the killing of 2 other persons, they should look for, peaceful avenues to address their concerns than to resort to violence in order not to shed blood, and then also beyond this, involve the leadership in their communities to address their grievances. And this will go a long way to sort of ameliorate the sort of pain that they have in their heart. So yes, the preaching for peace will continue in the Ejura community. And then the chief has also said that beyond what we witnessed today, plans are far advanced to ensure, for instance, the police divisional headquarters is established in this community, of which they are working on the office and then accommodation for the police. And then the military detachment that he also talked about, he says some, offices, space have been identified, and that they are going to present this to government to ensure that they bring the military into this community. And once the military presence is felt here, he believes it will go a long way to promote peace and then law and order in this community. So he commended the military for their involvement and then the police for their involvement in maintaining a calm in this community. So beyond today's meeting, the engagement will continue behind closed doors and ensure that the leadership of the Zongo and then the other areas in the Ejura will forge together to promote peace and unity among the people.
Ohim is our man in Ejura. He's been monitoring events there for us. We're taking a break on the pulse. When we return shortly, we'll be heading towards Parliament, where Finance Minister Kanu Furiata is expected to brief the House on the travels of President Akufo-Addo in recent times. Welcome back to the Pulse. Let's go straight to Parliament, where Finance Minister Kanu Furiata is about to address the House and give a briefing of the President's recent travels.
Question. The answer could please or displease you or disappoint you, but that is the answer the Minister has to give. You can probe further, and that is why we have opportunity for supplementary questions. And so I did ask whether you have any supplementary question, which you decided to exercise your right to do so. And so the other aspect definitely should not have come in at all. You have the opportunity to make sure that the answer from the Minister doesn't disappoint you. So please, Honorable Blackwood, let me hear you again.
Mr. Speaker, this question, which you admitted, Mr. Speaker, since the 1st of June, was advertised on the order paper of 16th June to be responded to on the 17th of June, a copy of which I have here. On the 17th of June, it was not captured on the order paper. This was widely reported by the media. We were told that day, Mr. Jetro, I can mention his name, the clerk at table, informed me, as is the practice, that the Honorable Minister has requested for more time. That is why it was taken off the order paper that day. So I want to find out, I hope that that satisfies the majority chief whip. These are the facts. Why did the finance minister ask for more time if all this while, several weeks, you duly acknowledged that this question was rightly admitted and it's in your bosom? What has happened? That suddenly we are being told that it's for the National Security Minister to respond to, when all along in your communication with Parliament, in your dealings with Parliament, you have not raised any objection about this question. You have not said you don't have the answers. So it's a legitimate follow-up question based on the facts as has transpired over the period.
Honorable members, let's don't belabor this issue. The minister says the National Security Minister is best placed to furnish this House with the details needed. Let's pursue it that way. Yes, please. You have.
Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the Honorable Finance Minister, by way of supplementary question, if this transaction did not go through the Give Me system, which is under his control, and so is able to know all of these expenditures. The Give Me system.
Yes. Yes, Deputy Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I rise on Order 69. Order 69. Yes, it is so. 69. For the avoidance of doubt, as soon as a question is answered in the House, any member, beginning with the member who asked the question, may without notice ask supplementary question, further elucidation of any matter of fact regarding which the answer has been given. But a supplementary question may not be used to introduce matter not included in the original question. Mr. Speaker, on the strength of this, I contend, one, that the question that has been asked with respect to gift mix or whatever as a form of payment was never included in the answer so advertised. Two, yes, that's my application to Mr. Speaker. I am making an application to the Mr. Speaker that your question, supplementary question, is not in accord with 69. So if you gently listen to me, Mr. Speaker can rule. Mr. Speaker, two, I also contend that the long speeches premising the earlier question which you ruled out is not aimed at doing justice to the matter in issue. Mr. Speaker, supplementary question is very clear, and I've quoted the rules. If my colleague wants us to go strictly by what the rules say, so be it. But if you want to use it to be throwing political punches, you know what to do. You know what to do. You may use another platform other than this chamber, but as far as, Mr. Speaker, the rules provide, I humbly urge on Mr. Speaker that on the strength of this, Mr. Speaker, kindly rule him out of order. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister, you may answer the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm a little about my supposed request for additional time. I'm trying to determine...
Minister, don't refer to that one. Just go specifically to the issue.
Mr. Speaker, yes. The issues of gift mix, when we give our quarterly releases for goods and services, etc., it does not really include line items for president's travel, etc., etc. And so we would not have those specific costs coming through the gift mix. And as I mentioned, with the operational work that is done between OGM and the National Security Services, those categorizations are not very clear to us because of the national security implications that I have mentioned earlier on.
Yes, you have a last supplementary.
Right, Honourable Speaker, my final supplementary question. If I heard the Honourable Minister clearly, is the Honourable Minister telling this House that there are some payments that are allowed outside the GIFME system? Is that what the Honourable Minister...
That's not what he said. He said they come global as to the details of the items that have been spent on is not in the GIFME. They don't have that details there. That is the answer.
Mr. Speaker, the GIFME system, there are line items, there are specific codes for each transaction. That's what we know. That's what we have been working with in this House. So, has something changed, Mr. Speaker?
That is not a supplementary question. You just express your view. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I'll rephrase. Is there a separate GIFME arrangement for this kind of transactions?
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this. Mr. Speaker, as I indicated, this has national security implications. Mr. Speaker, there will be, therefore, a general line item for travel and co in the GIFME, in which we do not interrogate whether it's the Vice President or the President's trips. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members,
Mr. Speaker, I did mention...
Honourable Minister, you may resume your seat.
Thank you.
Honourable members, I thought the Minister has given clear indication as to where to get the full details of the answer. And I think we should move further than that. Yes, Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with your discretion, some supplementary questions may get asked to get the Minister to give probably a more detailed answer. And if you are minded to take one or two colleagues on this, it may be helpful. Mr. Speaker, the reason I'm saying this is we have Honorable Atuforsin, who has been at the Ministry of Finance, and is also very familiar with the GIFME system that the Minister is talking about. Mr. Speaker, the National Security Minister, whether he does make direct payments on things that are procured at the office of the President, we have other members that are familiar with us. I would be most grateful if one or two members could be permitted, even if it is one just supplementary question from each of them. That may help us to get some more answers. We'll be grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the question is not on GIFME system. The question is not on that. Ask the question as a supplementary on what we have. That I will allow. Yes, so if Honourable Atuforsin wants to ask a supplementary question, why not?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister of Finance, using the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921. Mr. Speaker, the PFM Act 2016, in Section 102, interpretations, interpret minister to mean Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, again, if you are to look at the PFM Act, Section 4.1, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, if I may read, it says, the minister is responsible for policy and strategic matters related to the efficient operations of the public financial management systems of the country, subject to policy guidance from Cabinet. The Speaker, the 2 says, for the purposes of subsection 1, and subject to the Constitution and any other enactment, the Minister shall, Mr. Speaker, I'm more interested in E, F, and H. And the E says, the Minister shall account for public funds through a consolidated public account. That's E. And Mr. Speaker, F goes on to say the Minister shall supervise the financial operations of a covered entity. Mr. Speaker, the national security is a covered entity under this law. The Office of Chief of Staff is a covered entity under this law. The law empowers the minister responsible for finance to supervise their financial activities. The Speaker, it goes on in H to say that, H says, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, it says that manage public funds. So, Mr. Speaker, the law empowers our Minister of Finance with all of this. My question is, Mr. Speaker, my question is, based on the Public Financial Management Act, is the minister responsible for finance saying that he could not ask for information since he's the minister responsible, he's the supervising minister responsible for public funds from the National Security and the Chief of Staff's office? That's my question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member, clearly it's not supplementary. Clearly it's not supplementary. On issues of supervision and the rest, yes, they are there. But when you allocate money to a ministry, agency, and the rest, there are, as you know very well, some are global figures. And the ministries now spend them on the detailed items. Now, after the expenditure, there's another process to go through before you feed the supervising ministry, Ministry of Finance. Is that not the process? And so the way he submitted the answer, if you actually want the detailed answer now, he says it's with this ministry. If at the end of the day, the budgets come and you go through, you don't see the details, then you can ask him to account. But the way he answered it, he doesn't say he's not supervising them, no, but the details on those things, please, this minister can easily get them for you. So I believe that we should move on and get Honorable Ablakwa. Your no will not stop me from moving on. I want to listen to Honorable Ablakwa. I mentioned his name.
Right, Mr. Speaker, I unreservedly apologize. I was caught in the moment. I meant no disrespect. I'm very sorry. So, no, withdrawn.
No. Yes, he's my son-in-law, so he knows his limits. We have many questions. Now, I want to give to one person the last supplementary question. Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, it is true that the question is not on gift mix, but the Minister for Finance sitting in his office has the authority to query gift mix and get any information about expenditure that has been captured in gift mix. But Mr. Speaker, when you release money to agencies in bulk, expenditures from those monies must go through an approval and a warrant process, and that warrant process commits the expenditure to specific item lines. And so we are not asking of the bulk money you sent to the office of the president, but the expenditures emanating from those monies went through a budget approval process and warrants were issued committed to specific expenditure lines. And once it is entered into that expenditure line, the minister sitting in his office is the only person in Ghana who can access that information at any level of detail. So for the minister to say that he needs to get the information from another ministry, when with the press of the button, you can query the specific expenditure item called travel and tell the details on those travels. Mr. Speaker, I think he's avoiding the question. Did they issue warrants in order to pay expenditures relating to the president? And where was it entered? In the gift mix.
Yeah. Honorable members, we move on to the next question. I'm doing so because I think I was trying to draw your attention to something you are not taking care of. You have processes. You have processes. The processes take time. And reading the answer, he has left those processes in doubt. But he says, if you ask this specific person, he will be able to get you those details there. That is why I'm saying that it doesn't arise. These supplementary questions you are asking doesn't arise. Let's move forward, get the person involved to come to answer the questions and give the details. Please. Deputy Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, the Minister of Finance provided an information on who is the appropriate minister to respond to the question. Mr. Speaker, we might go and ask the security minister. He also come and said he doesn't control the budget. He does not control the budget of the office of the president. So I want to find out from the minister. Is the minister saying that the travels of the president are financed under the budget of the national security? Because he says that in the last paragraph that he says that the president's domestic and international travels are matters to do with national security. The national security minister is the best placed to furnish this house with the details needed. The detail we need is the cost of the travel. Is the Minister of Finance saying that the national security minister is the one who controls the budget that finances the president's travel? So that when we ask him, you'll be able to provide the information. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Actually, I didn't get your supplementary question. What is the supplementary question?
Mr. Speaker, I'm picking the question from the answer provided by the minister. The last paragraph of the minister's answer says that, Mr. Speaker, the president's domestic and international travels are matters to do with national security. The national security minister is best placed to furnish this honorable house with the details needed. And Mr. Speaker, the detail that we need is the cost of the travel. So if he's saying that he is the minister best placed to provide the details. My question is that National Security Minister is the one who controls the budget that will finance the president's travel. That is my question. Is it the National Security Minister that controls the budget that finances the president's travel, both domestic and international?
Yes, Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I did state from the beginning that the Chief of Staff works with the National Security Secretariat to facilitate the safe coordination of the President's travels. So there's obviously interactions between them as to how much is to be spent on that. Mr. Speaker, this Honorable House is also well aware of national security implications of various activities that are done, and that is why they have certain protocols of national security. Mr. Speaker, all things may be permissible, but not all things may be beneficial. And it's therefore always the House knowing what it is that they have to do in camera and what they do not have to do in camera, which leads us to this. Mr. Speaker, I still contend that the best placed person to furnish this Honorable House with the details would be the National Security Minister, in which your answers the appropriate answers will be given. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, we move on to the next question. Majority Leader, is there any issue? Well, Mr. Speaker, respectfully, you have moved on, so I wouldn't have much to say about it. But I was in the office listening to proceedings. Mr. Speaker, what I got from this, the question is asked of a minister, and the minister says that he is not responsible for it. And he relates to the specific ministry that has the charge for it. Is it the case that that minister has come, has been invited, and the minister is denying responsibility? If that's the case, then we can litigate the matter. But the minister has not been invited. So how can we continue this way? And I heard you rule that, or gave a directive that we should move on. Yet your path was crossed to say that we should allow some limited intervention. And I thought that ought not even have been entertained. But I haven't heard you at all. I haven't heard you. In respect of? All what you said. Oh, okay. Okay. You are not speaking into the mic, and so you are not audible. Well, Speaker, the point made is this. Our orders provide in 62(1). Questions may be asked of ministers relating to public affairs with which they are officially connected. Mr. Speaker, that is the essence of my own intervention. You moved, you ruled, or directed that we should move on. As I said, I was listening to proceedings. At a point in time, I heard you direct that we should move on and the question should be filed or refiled. And then an intervention was made against the direction that you provided. And I'm saying that ensuing from this is what I have come to hear. And I'm saying that if a person or a minister is not officially responsible, can this House force that person to be officially responsible? If the person mentioned is invited and he denies responsibility, then the House could litigate the matter further. But the person has not been invited. So what are we doing? Mr. Speaker, that is the point I raised. And I'm saying that I've taken a cue. Yes, Majority Leader, you are right.
Thank you very much.
But when it comes to supplementary, I won't know what question the person will ask until it is asked. And usually it's proper to give members the opportunity to air their views. When I see it's not supplementary, I overrule it, and I've done that a number of times. And now I believe that we have to move on. That is why I said we go to the next question. And the next question stands in the name of Honorable Dr. Clement Apak, the Member of Parliament for Bulsa South. Honorable Member, you may do so now.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Finance if government took a loan or loans to finance the implementation of the free senior school policy.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, government has taken no loan to specifically finance the free SHS policy. Mr. Speaker, the free SHS school policy has since its inception been financed from the annual budget funding amount and Government of Ghana funding sources. Over the 5 years, a total amount of 7.62 billion has been allocated to implement the free SHS program. Out of this amount, 4.18 billion was sourced from Government of Ghana, representing 54.76%, while the balance of 3.44 billion, representing 45.24%, came from APFA. Mr. Speaker, the free senior high school policy education provides free education for all Ghanaians in senior high school to ensure that no child is denied access to education. This includes tuition, meals for both boarders and day students, textbooks, library fee, boarding fee, science laboratory fee, examination fee, and utility fee. Mr. Speaker, student enrollment at the senior high school level has increased from 881,600 in 2016 to 1,261,125 in 2021, primarily due to the free senior high school policy. Mr. Speaker, 5 years after the implementation of the free SHS, 411 out of the 465 candidates who scored grade A in all subjects at the 2020 WASI exams were beneficiaries of the free SHS program in Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, free SHS beneficiaries constituted 88% of all candidates who scored grade A in all subjects at the 2020 WASI exams. Mr. Speaker, as a nation, we must all be heartened that it has yielded such positive results, thus enhancing social mobility to create a wealthier, inclusive, and empowered society. The green seeds of growth for a confident and prosperous society for all is indeed in ascendancy. As President Akufo-Addo has stated, the process of expansion of educational opportunity has to be the bedrock of educational policy in the 21st century for our nation if we are to make the rapid transformation of the social and economic life.
And we're live on the Pulse this afternoon. There's some breaking news because we're hearing that a new IGP has been appointed. Let's cross over straight to the studio 997, where my colleague Evans Mensah is stationed there to tell us more about this.
Is set to become the new IGP. And this obviously is something that we are waiting a formal communication from the presidency about. For those who are wondering, who is Dr. Dampare? I have Raymond, who's head of our research desk, with us in the studio. Raymond, what do we know about him?
So we know that he is Director General Administration and has been in the police service for about 3 decades. And he joined the service as a constable and has risen to the highest rank of police, Commissioner of Police, until he's just been elevated, becoming one of the youngest police officers to have attained this in recent years. That's very important. He has served in many leadership capacities in the service, including being Director General of Finance, and I'll tell you why that's important, because he has a PhD in finance, and Director General of Welfare, and that's what people have known him for when he traveled across the country to actually see to policemen that are attacked and all of the other things that happen, and the Director General of ICT. He has been Commandant of the Police Command and Staff College. This is sometime along the line, a position that people were surprised he was given after he did a lot of work in the Accra Regional Police Command. And I'll tell you why that's important. Remember the arrest of the JB Dampare gentleman who's supposed to have actually conducted the act. He is currently the director. Of course, we know that he became a chartered accountant at the age of 25. That's important. And while serving as a police constable, so he joined the police and became a chartered accountant. Then he holds a PhD in finance. He's also an adjunct lecturer at Dampare and the University of Cape Coast here. And some of the credentials we have known him for: he was a special assistant to the regional commander, and he was also along the line the United Nations mission in Herzegovina and a municipal police commander of Cape Coast. He was ADC to the Vice President of Ghana along the line, and in Ghana here too, he's been an accountant and a finance officer at the police headquarters, and also the head of police narcotics desk at the Ministry of Interior in times past. In fact, one of the points I made earlier is the credit he was given for the swift arrest of the gentlemen who were held responsible for JB Dankwadu's killing. He should be around 51 somewhere this year.
I mean, the thing about Dr. Dampare is he's a very affable, likable individual. Indeed, once it's confirmed, in my estimation, the finest. It represents the finest of the Ghana Police Service, the finest of the Ghana Police Service any day. My first encounter with him was way back in 2007 in the north, where there's been a major flooding disaster. The president then, John Kufuor, had traveled with the UN, and of course he was a senior police officer then, leading, representing his police folks there, and you could see his understanding of human relations was above par, and especially at the time when the police service itself has come under a lot of scrutiny, and the relationship they have with the public has become strained because of course the latest being what we saw with the Ejura, for example. There's a strained relationship that we've seen over in the last few weeks and months between the police and the citizens. He's a perfect man for this time. And the perfect man for this time.
It's instructive to know that the police has had some bad press for some time now. I mean, he's the gentleman that if you're a journalist, you surely have a contact to him. And he's affable. He's
very
not
affable.
A person that is difficult to have contact to, and he explains things to you. He really will get you to understand that this is what the real situation on the ground is. Maybe that will permeate the system going forward.
He has indeed cultivated a great relationship with the media. In fact, in October 2018, GJA conferred honorary membership on COP Dampare, which makes him an honorary member of the Inky fraternity. There is no doubt that that is a position he will leverage to the benefit of the police service if he's given that opportunity. Of course, whenever you hear of a senior police officer in a viral video, you expect it to be something negative. But not in the case of COP Dr. George Dampare. Just this year, in May 2021, he was in a viral video doing something which ordinarily should never capture the attention of the media. But in this case, he was in a traffic queue and decided not to use his sirens. Just that attracted the attention of the media, and a viral video was created of a police officer sitting in his vehicle, somebody who has the entitlement and indeed the equipment on top of his vehicle to beat traffic if he wished to do so. But he decided to sit in traffic. Just that simple act marked him as an atypical police officer. He's not your typical police officer. And there is an expectation that with somebody of his caliber at the helm of affairs as IGP, there is an expectation of a rather different face to the police service.
And the thing about it is, if you know anything about Dr. Dampare, he has been tipped to be IGP for so long. For those who know him and have studied the security architecture, there's always a suggestion that he is next in line, and it doesn't happen. And of course, then people start questioning, but why? I mean, he's just so fine. And as I say, the time is now just right. And it's a perfect timing. And you have to, again, once you get a confirmation, this is something that the president must also take credit for. Because obviously, to understand the times you're in and make an appointment that suits the time, it's a skill that a leader must have. And for me, that is something that needs to be, it's a part of the bigger conversation now, is understanding that we're at a point in time when that relationship that you need between the police and the citizenry, so you can win against this, latest surge in crime, is critical. If you don't have the right man at the top, first of all, you are going to struggle to get morale within the service itself, right? You need an affable person, both within the police service to galvanize, somebody that they can all look up to and like, and want to work for and die for. Because really, that's what the police service is. You put your life literally on the line every day when you are instructed to go in. I mean, if you take the military away, the police do that too, of course, within the internal territories of Ghana. And often, if you don't have somebody at the helm that they feel comfortable with, especially when you have crime, a changing phase of crime, you're going to have a big challenge getting your officers and men with arms to go in and fight and put themselves in line in harm's way. If you have somebody like Dampare, as I know him, he's just a magnet, and his approach to things is quite different. So you deal with the internal challenges with morale and motivation. And then you also deal with the second line, which is the citizens you have to work with. They see him, they see the way he talks. His humility is the thing that strikes you the most when you meet him. This is a PhD holder who says, I want to serve in I mean, let's be frank about this. A police service is not a service that people hold in so much. It's not a revered institution among the populace, right?
So people stand out.
Yes, it's the reason why we always say the military should take the lead, and people, because there's a certain respect that the police deserve, but they don't get, right? And that has been an issue for so long that when you see the police officer, they just simply don't. They don't. Not, I want to say command. They've not done enough to earn it. Yeah. So when you have that sort of challenge, you definitely will need somebody who comes in with a certain humility to say, I understand what the problem is, and I'm going to work on that. There's a human relations there that is so important that he himself brings to this
And there are many instances in which he has demonstrated that quite actively. For example, when he was transferred to Winneba, to become the commandant of the Ghana Police Command and Staff College, it was a move that many people considered to be at best a demotion. That's true. Because he used to be the Greater Accra Regional Police Commander, a position in which he had actually chalked up several successes publicly. So it seemed hard to explain when he was moved to Winneba. But in his own comments, which he put in a statement, he thanked God Almighty for his guidance and protection during the 6 months that he had served as Accra Regional Police Commander. And he said this, and I quote him. He said, "It is in this regard that I wish to thank the police administration, officers and men within Accra." Forgive me, I've lost that. It just disappeared. Oh, here we are. Within Accra region and all stakeholders, including the media, civil society groups, religious groups, political parties, and the entire populace of the metropolis for their enormous contribution and cooperation for the entire police command during my tenure. Then he says, as I take up the new appointment, I will beseech all to continue to give same support to my successor and his team to keep Accra safe, especially during the upcoming election.
You know, when there was a review of a sort, some form of a structural, when you wanted to replace the outgoing IGP, David
News is so central So that was Evans Mensah, who is head of our political desk. He's there with Raymond Aqua, head of research desk, and Kojo Yangsen, host of the AM show, Super Morning Show on radio, and telling us exactly why Dr. Dampare is needed in that position right now, in the situation in which the country is. And of course, they've been telling us about how Dr. Dampare has what it takes. You've been following conversations about why people think the IGP, the immediate past IGP, upon Bueno, is only good in administrative stuff, but not to fight crime. And the fact that he needed to be changed for somebody who really understand the terrain to take over. So there are a lot of mixed reactions with this appointment. Later on PM Express at 9 p.m. we'll be breaking it all down for you with the experts, those who know and do a lot of research into the police service, into the what goes into their work. And they'll be telling us why Dr. Dampare is fit for the job or not, and also tell us their expectation as he's been appointed to IGP. I tell you, it's going to be a tough job for him because of, what we've seen around us. And the experts say, yes, it's a good thing to be there, but he has to really prepare for this job. All right, so this is the pulse. We'll take a break. Right, so I'm told that the COP, Dr. George Dampare, who I've been talking to you about, he is the one who's taking over from the IGP. He takes over from Opon Bueno, who is a lawyer and police officer who was appointed to be the police boss by President Akufo-Addo in October 2019. George Dampare, until his appointment, was the Director General in charge of administration at the service. COP George Dampare has been in the Ghana Police Service for close to 30 years. He joins the service as a constable and has risen to the highest rank of Commissioner of Police, becoming one of the youngest police officers to have attained this in recent years. He has served in many leadership capacities in the service, including Director General Finance, Director General Welfare, Director General ICT, Commandant of the Police Command and Staff College, and Accra Region Police Commander. He is currently the Director General of Operations of the service. COP Akufo-Addo Dampare became a chartered accountant at the age of 25 while serving as a police constable and currently holds a PhD in finance. He has been an adjunct lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GIMPA, and at the University of Cape Coast in Ghana. Amongst his credentials, George Akufo-Addo Dampare was a special assistant to the regional commander, United Nations missions in Bosnia, Municipal Police Commander, Cape Coast, ADC to the Vice President of Ghana, Accountant Finance Officer, Ghana Police Service, and the Head of Police and Narcotics Desk at the Ministry of the Interior. He has been credited for his lead role in the swift arrest of the alleged killer of former Ebuaka North MP J.B. Dankwa. This is the man who is taking up the mantle as IGP, even as we begin to record a lot of criminal activities, as people lament that criminal activities seem to be on the rise. Dr. Dampare takes over. What should we expect from him? Let's continue that conversation at 9 p.m. on PM Express. This is The Pulse. Studio 997 for a conversation. All right, so let's take a break on The Pulse. We'll bring We're still live on The Pulse, and we're told that there's a new appointment to the IGP level. Who is Dr. Dampare? Let's cross over to Studio 997. Raymond Aqua, Evans Mensah, and Kojo Yangsen are telling us why it must be Dampare.
Dr. Dampare led and coordinated the National Anti-Armed Robbery Reward to Informant Initiative, which really structured how we give money to people who had informed us about what's supposed to happen in that space. And as the Director General for National Operations, he created an efficient system where fragmented units were consolidated to create effective rewards like the combat anti-armed robbery unit, the combat unit, to aggressively fight robbery within the periods that we are talking about. And as regional commander, if you do recall, there was an initiative that he put together which was called the Proactive Policing Strategy, which later they called it the Continuous Stakeholder Engagement Program 2. And of course, in very capacities, I can talk about what he did as welfare chair too. Now, in charge of welfare, he introduced an innovative social welfare scheme where he led officers from the department to visit the homes of scores of sick and bedridden police officers, and those are the ones that were publicized a lot across the country, and also introduced the strategic medical interventions to facilitate their welfare. Now, you remember that there was this program of at both Dodowa and Kaswa, we had the failure of the leadership of the police administration to intervene in the situation, which had lasted for close to a decade. If I'm pushing it to 2013, under the leadership of the IGP at the time, Al-Hassan Mohammed, Dr. Dampare led a team of officers working day and night to restructure the Armored Car Squadron, which are units within the formed police unit, within a record time of 10 weeks. The task has remained impossible for over 15 years, but he did that. He actually restructured that system. The FPU are now become one of the police main units, undertaking internal police operations and international peacekeeping missions within the United Nations and the AU. And maybe briefly on his role at the patrol department when it comes to the visibility departments too. The quick point is that Dr. Dampare supervised the implementation of the Novel Police Visibility Program, which saw the presence of police personnel at most intersections. And know that recently when there were some crime in some areas, people called for that police unit, the visibility program, to be brought back.
That was his creation.
Very much so,
maybe it's up to end on this. It's a message from a senior police officer who wishes to remain anonymous, but he says, Kojo, the appointment of COP Dr. Dampare puts the man fit for the job in the office at this point in time. The whole police body is jubilating now.
The whole police service is jubilating now, and it's expected. I mean, that is exactly what will happen. Listen, as we've been indicating, if you're just joining us and wondering what is it that we've been talking about, we've been talking about the what we expect now to be the next IGP, who will be confirmed shortly with a statement we understand from the Jubilee House. That is Dr. Akufu Dampare, who is going to be obviously our next IGP, and it comes at a time obviously when the police itself has come under some intense scrutiny. Indeed, it's something that we're following very closely. For you, go on to myjoyonline.com for additional details.
And maybe I chip in just last one. We know that he was called by the president this morning, and that he was told he will be the next IGP. But for now, he had to act until the Council of State approves him.
Okay. Of course, details, all of that in our subsequent bulletins.
Welcome back to the Pulse. Let's look at the man who is heading towards IGP position tonight, Dr. George Akufu Dampare. He is the youngest acting Inspector General of Police to be appointed in the Fourth Republic and the 8th youngest since Ghana gained independence. Prior to this appointment, he was the most senior police officer after the just retired IGP. Dr. Dampare joined the Ghana Police Service as a constable in December 1990 at age 20 and rose through the ranks to become Commissioner of Police 24 years later at age 44 in 2014, the rank he held until his appointment. In 1991, on completion of his recruit training, Dr. Dampare was adjudged the overall best recruit at the National Police Training School and won all awards except the award for the best marksman. Again, in 1996, he emerged the overall best cadet for the 32nd Cadet Officers Course at the Ghana Police Academy, formerly Police College, and won all awards, including excellence in professional police subjects and excellence in academic subjects. During his over 30-year career as a police officer, Dr. Dampare has made significant contributions to policing in Ghana and beyond as enumerated below. At the leadership and management level, Dampare has had the rare privilege of serving as the head of Director General of almost every major department, giving him greater insight into the administration of policing in Ghana. Specifically, Dr. Dampare has been Director General for Administration and Director General for Welfare twice. He's also served as Director General for MTTD, Director General for Research and Planning, Director General for Operations, Director General for ICT, Director General for Finance, and Director General for National Patrol Department, Police Visibility Department. Other leadership positions Dr. Dampare previously held include Commandment of the Police Command and Staff College, Accra Regional Police Commander, Regional Commander for Railways, Ports and Harbours, now Police Marine Department, Municipal Commander for Cape Coast and Chief Internal Auditor of the Ghana Police Service. Between 2010 and 2015, under the leadership of two IGPs, Messias Paul Tariakwe and Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan, Dampare led and coordinated the National Anti-Armed Robbery Reward to Informant initiative, which saw the arrest and prosecution of many notorious armed robbers across the country. As a Director General for National Operations, Dr. Dampare created an efficient system where fragmented units were consolidated to create effective and complete departments such as the establishment of the Anti-Armed Robbery Unit, the Combat Unit to aggressively fight robbery and other violent crimes. He also created the Intelligence Unit within the National Operations Department, which later informed the creation of a Police Intelligence Department at the national level. As Accra Regional Police Commander, Dampare introduced an innovative and proactive policing strategy called the Continuous Stakeholder Engagement Program, where all stakeholders were included and involved in policing the region. For the first time through this initiative, the Ghana Police Service, under his leadership, visited political parties in their offices to engage them. As Director General in charge of welfare, Dr. Dampare introduced an innovative social welfare scheme where he led officers from the department to visit the homes of scores of sick and bedridden police officers across the country, and also introduced strategic medical interventions to facilitate their wellness. Still, at welfare, Dampare initiated a process at Dodowa and Kaswa to reclaim lands owned and paid for by police officers. The matter had become a national security threat as many officers were angry at the failure of the leadership of the police administration to intervene in the situation, which had lasted for close to a decade. In 2013, under the leadership of the then Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan, Dr. Dampare led a team of officers working day and night to restructure the Armored Car Squadron unit into the formed Police Unit, FPU, within a record time of 10 weeks. This task had remained impossible for over 15 years. The FPU has now become one of the police units undertaking internal police operations and international peacekeeping missions under the United Nations and African Union. As a Director General of the National Patrol Department, Police Visibility Department, and under the leadership of the then IGP Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan, Dampare supervised the implementation of the novel Police Visibility Program, which saw the presence of police personnel at most intersections and communities in Ghana. Again, during the implementation of the vision of the then IGP Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan for the creation of the Police Service Command and Staff College at Winneba and the Police Service Public Safety Training School at Kwalugu, Dr. Dampare was the leader of the technical teams that ensured the full operationalization of these two specialist training institutions. Dampare is credited with the idea that led to the establishment of the Office of the Armor General, which serves as the central point for accounting for arms and ammunition within the Ghana Police Service, as well as the establishment of the Service Inquiry Monitoring Unit, SEMU, with the responsibility of managing the Ghana Police Service disciplinary system. As coordinator of the National Interministerial Task Force for 2007, Ghana Floods, which was under the overall leadership of Dr. Mrs. Mary Chinyere Hesse, then Chief Advisor to the President J.A. Kufuor, Dr. Dampare led a team within a 7-month period to develop and implement a national disaster management model, which brought all United Nations agencies, Red Cross and civil society organizations, among others, together to successfully manage the disaster. As Director General for Finance, Dampare led a police technical implementation team to work with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to migrate the police service onto the single spine salary structure as the first institution in the country to successfully complete the migration. This is the man who is taking over as IGP. There's mixed reactions from the security analysts, security experts out there. On PM Express tonight, I want you to join that conversation. Let us know who Dr. Dampare is. What does he bring on board? What are your expectations for him? All that is on PM Express. But that will be it for the polls. That's where we draw the curtains this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com and you can get updates for all the developing stories. I've indeed enjoyed my almost 2-hour stay with you. Up next is Let's Talk Showbiz. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.
Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to lay in my bed. But I can't do that because I have Let's Talk Showbiz. And you are out there waiting for me to give you everything that you need to hear in the world of entertainment. My name is Becky. This is Let's Talk Showbiz right here on JoyNews on your multi-TV channel. Please stick and stay. I have all the juicy entertainment stories for you. Welcome back to Let's Talk Showbiz here on JoyNews on your multi-TV channel. Today, let's start with the Ghana Music Awards UK. Yes, yeah. Okay, we're going to London, so we're going to speak like Londoners. I hope I'm speaking like a London-based Ghanaian something. But of course, let's talk about Ghana Music Awards UK. Apparently, there has been a new addition. Yes. Europe Artist of the Year. So organizers were on the AM show this morning with my colleague Ibrahim Bembako, and they have been telling us all about what to expect this year's Ghana Music Awards UK. The nominees party is on Friday. We'll be bringing you everything live here on the show, but Alodia and West Coast Promotion, they've been speaking to us here on the show. Please, let's take that one.
If you check what we do, we just when the musicians come, not because of just Ghana music, we take them to BBC, all the big radio stations for interviews, TV stations, and we make sure we give them mileage before the day.
Before the day.
Yeah, so it's been very important. They get chance to at least meet the UK artists, the Ghanaian-born UK artists that are doing well, and do some collaborations and stuff like that. So. It's been great.
That's good. 5 years down the lane. Well, this Friday you are having the launch here in Ghana.
Yep.
You always have the launch in Ghana?
Yep.
Why?
No, let's say the main musicians are from here.
Okay.
And basically everything that goes on here, we know in the UK. You understand? So because of social media. And when they come to UK, we don't have a big media like it is in Ghana. Okay. It's only few, and let's say it's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
Well, it's 5 years, so it's going to be a celebration. What is going to be, special about this year's event?
Before you started, you just asked if we've added anything to Europe.
Yes.
Because what it is when we, all the Ghanaian artists in the European countries,
yes,
they've been seeing what we are doing, how big it's getting. So they've been messaging us. So this year, mark the 5 years, we came up with a new category.
Oh, okay. What
which
category?
Is Europe Artist of the Year.
Europe Artist of the Year.
Yeah, which we had more than 30 musicians that submitted their work.
For just one category?
Yeah, from Europe. And it was amazing, because most of the time they say, Lodi and West Coast, come and do something there. But obviously, Nana based in France and is in Europe. So we need to leave that for him to do.
What up? It's that time of the year again. The 5th edition of the Ghana Music Awards UK launch and nominees night. Live from the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. Come to La Palm Royal Beach Hotel.
All right, let's move away from Ghana Music Awards UK. Let's talk about another happening inside London. Yes, Ghana Party in the Park. And what I'm very excited about is the fact that my colleague Doreen Avio, who is your regular host here on Let's Talk Showbiz, she will be hosting the entire show. And so you should look forward to lovely performances from Yao Talk, Kofi Jama, Jackie, Sefa, Sarkodie actually is a creative director. And so we're expecting a lot, more fun that they actually happening just this weekend. And so that's it for Ghana Party in the Park. So for those of you who are in London, just come out in your numbers and attend Ghana Party in the Park. It's been a long way, after COVID. Well, we're still in the COVID season. Of course, all protocols will be observed. And so come out in your numbers. Let's do this. Ghana Party in the Park. All right, let me now bring you something from the Africa Day concert hosted by actor Idris Elba. I have all the highlights for you. Enjoy. Let's move away from the Africa Day concert. Let's talk about Kanye West. Yes. He has announced that he'll be releasing an album very soon. The title of the album and when the album will be released, I have it here for you on Let's Talk Showbiz. We will all definitely be looking forward to that particular album. Kanye West has been a long way coming, but don't also forget that our very own rapper Sarkodie has an album coming up on the 30th of July. Yeah, I think next week. So do well to stream that album as well. That will be all for Let's Talk Showbiz here on your favorite news channel, JoyNews on your multi-TV channel. My name is Becky, and I have been talking entertainment with you.